You are Locked On Astros Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well. Hello. First of all, thank you for sticking around and coming to hang out, even though we're a little bit late today. We haven't been here for the last couple of days as I'm adjusting my camera because to me it looks like it's crooked. I don't know if it is. Hi, guys. Hope you enjoyed the Astros losing the last few nights. We did not do a show, but we are here now, and it is the Locked On Astros Postcast. After a rough day for the Astros today, to end this series there in San Francisco and end a road trip that was just not very good overall. A road trip that they should have absolutely destroyed. They did not destroy. We're going to get through all of it. Bad Fromber, overall being a failure, and we'll take a look a little bit at that Tigers series as well. It'll start Friday night at Minute Maid Park. This edition of the Locked On Astros Postcast today is brought to you by eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need and the prices you want, it's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit. Only available to U.S. customers. So for the Astros today, and by the way, this show, the Locked On Astros Postcast, typically live right after the game. We'll be that way Friday. When the game ends, we'll be live as soon as it finishes. Just life, things going on. Can't get here exactly when it was, but I was watching today, of course, and Bad Fromber shows up for the Astros. And I'm not going to overreact too much to that, because you're never going to have a guy go out and be perfect every time. We've talked about it a lot with Fromber. They need him, of course, to be the ace of this staff, to pitch like that consistently, where he goes out like he did in Anaheim the other night and dominates, just absolutely dominates. That didn't happen for Fromber Valdez today. And it's going to be a bad day for him when he goes out there and he's not getting outs via the ground ball. It was balls in the air a lot, and the ball was carrying quite a bit, and it just kind of snowballs. And I thought it was a little bit interesting that Joe Espada went ahead and pulled the plug as quickly as he did, just because you would have figured trying to eat the innings, But look, that's where this team is at. They have to manage that way and play that way. If you go out there and you don't give them what they need as a team, which, again, overall, the staff and Fromber included, in the last month and a half or whatever, done a really good job of keeping the Astros in games. And then on top of it, they also have been doing a good job of going deeper into baseball games, which matters. You have to be able to do that. And they've done that recently more often compared to than they did earlier in the season. But this team, they are so desperate for winning now, which that's of their own doing. Simple as that. They're only that desperate because of where they're at win-loss wise. And, this all gets back to, and we're going to go a little bit further into it here in a minute honestly, this road trip was a failure. There's just no other way to put it for this baseball team. They were just going 3-3 on this road trip, not good enough. And again, we'll get more into that here in just a little bit with this Astros team. But Fromber cannot go back out there clearly and do that again. What he went out there again today, and it's shocking to me in that environment against that Giants lineup. Logan Webb on the other side too. He wasn't his best today. He wasn't bad by any means for the Giants, but it was a matchup on paper that you go, and it was like the first few innings where, this thing is going to be bang, 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 quick, ground ball, and neither guy necessarily had their best stuff. Simple as that. But I really wasn't expecting Fromber to pitch all that poorly. Then you would think as well, in that ballpark where now, one, the ball does carry a lot more during the day than it does at night, but it's still so big and so spacious that why wouldn't, he do well in that ballpark, even if he is giving up balls in the air? It was not even on my radar today for Framber Valdez to have a bad day like he did today for the Houston Astros as they lose. And, the game of looking at the standings to me is almost out of sight, out of mind with this team, because I, at this point, don't think I can do it being on standings watch consistently until they get back to 500. Now, at this point, they are 31 and 38. They're 8 games out of the division. They're playing their way out of the West. Simple as that. And Seattle's not running away with it. They're 9 games over, though. It's June the 12th. They are playing their way out of the West title, having a chance at it. And I hate to say that. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. The calendar gets one day older each day. The final game of the season is, I don't even know when it is. I think the season actually ends in September this year. Or maybe it's the first week of October. I don't know. Whatever it is, the calendar, I'm trying to pull it up. They've got the Tigers, by the way, coming in this weekend, which should be interesting. You'll probably lose Friday night. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The season technically, the season ends in the month of September this year. It ends September 29th. I mean, it's almost 3 months away. You're running out of games. Today was game 69 of the season. Brian McTaggart had it from MLB.com earlier today. We'll talk about that in a second. The record that the Astros would have to get to 90 wins this year the rest of the way. I don't even know how you entertain it with this team. I truly don't. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. A lot more to get into as the Astros go out to San Francisco, drop 2 of 3, drop the series finale today. On top of it by a final of 5-3, like I mentioned, 31 and 38 now in the season. Bad Framber shows up. Bats don't do a lot of scoring. They got some hits throughout the ball game. That San Francisco pitching can pitch. Look, the Astros only had 3 at bats today with a runner in scoring position. Of course, they went 1 for 3, and they left 3 of them on base. Too bad Jordan's ball didn't go over the fence. That's the one disappointing part of the day today where, look, that guy was basically everything for you today because he went 2 for 4 with 2 runs batted in. It's nice that he's back. Jordan is definitely back to being good Jordan and doing his thing out there. Let's talk about why this trip was a failure. Talk about why I can't play the standings game, why we just have to, I think, continue to live in what reality is telling us and not be homerish or homeristic, whatever it might be, with where this baseball team is. We'll do that in just a brief second. Here at Locked On Astros Postcast, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, or the playoffs. It's year-round here on Locked On Sports Houston. You know exactly where you're at every single day. But on top of that, when we're trying to get you all that, you know what else is year-round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after your unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A-plus rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or go to visit their website, tnusa.com/lockedon. See the link in the episode description below. Locked On Astros Postcast here on a Wednesday evening. Thank you for joining us a little late after the baseball game today. If you are looking for this show when it comes to audio version, go search for Locked On Astros wherever you get your podcast. It is free and it's there every day. That's where it's going to be. We'll be with you for the Tiger series, of course, coming up this weekend at Minute Maid Park as the Astros come home for a quick 3 before going back out on the road real quick. Weird portion of the schedule. And that gets us to the schedule overall here when we're talking this road trip. I said it a minute ago, and I do mean it. That road trip was an absolute failure. And it was a failure because of Sunday's ending and because of the ending in game 1 of this series. You blew a 2-run lead in extra innings. You should default into giving up 1 run with a runner on second, nobody out to start the inning. I get it. But you should never lose a game where you have 2 runs before you have to give up 2 runs to tie the game. 2-run lead. And then, Sunday, Ryan Presley's been a garbage can this year. There's no other way around it. A flaming garbage can. He just goes out there and gives up runs. He's terrible. He has been god-awful for this baseball team. That cost you 2 wins. You cost a sweep. We talked about that Sunday. And then you lost a series because of, look, today, okay. But the Monday game was just horrendous. And this is a month where everybody's acknowledged it. Everybody said it. This is the month where the Astros have to feast, correct? So far, they've played the Twins, where they went, just in this month alone, they went 2-2. And they went 2-1 against the Cardinals. So that's giving you a record of, they went 1-1 against the Twins. So they're 3-5 at that point through the month. Then they got to, doing this on the 3-2 at that point in the month. And then they got to 5-3 with the series against the against the Angels. And so with this series now, they are 6-5 in the month of June. And that's again playing the Twins for 2, the Cardinals for 3, the Angels for 3, and the Giants for 3. This shouldn't be 6-5. But here's again where I have to keep going back to for me. I'll update the standings. I'll look at the standings. I'll do all that because why wouldn't I? I'm still a fan. But I can't keep doing this every day and expecting it to change. I mentioned it before we took our little quick time out there. Brian McTaggart had the tweet earlier today about the Astros record, what it would have to be the rest of the season just to if they wanted to win 90 games. Coming into today, they would have had to go 59-35. There is no indication at all, that this baseball team is capable of winning games above a 500 clip for an extended period of time. There just isn't. They are, at best, an average team. Reality and record says they are a bad team. Bad teams lose more than they win. If you went off of expected win-loss, which they're still in the positive for run differential by 5, their expected win-loss is 35-34. But again, at best, that's an average baseball team. That's what they've played this year. Average baseball. At the best case scenario. But for the most of it, it's been bad baseball. And it's this roller coaster of they did it again. That Angels series, they had a chance to get back to 4 games under 500. And it was like, oh, you can start tasting 500 when you get to that number. But here you are after the Giants series has ended. And you're not even tasting 4 games under 500 anymore. You're back to 7. You have to go rip off 3. You have to go sweep the Tigers this weekend to get back to that or get to that number. And guess what you're probably not doing? Sweeping the Tigers. Because the pitching matchup Friday night, good luck. Look, the Tigers are a better baseball team than you. They're 32-34. The Detroit Tigers. I have to keep for myself. Like, I want to always, and I still will, deep down in me, I will still hold out some hope. And they're being given a gift. With the 3 wild card teams in the division race, I said it a minute ago. It's 8 games. They're playing their way out of it, but they're still not dead in it. Seattle, they can't hit a baseball half the time. They could easily go out there and choke away 4 games in a row at some point. The Astros rip off 4 and they're 4 games back all of a sudden. Like, that's possible. But they don't even look like they're capable of doing that. They can't put it together for any sort of extended period of time. And so, again, I go back to the month of June. This is the month that they have to feast in, correct? And you look at the rest of the schedule. They're 6-5 so far in this easy schedule month. 3 against the Tigers this weekend. On the road for 3 next week. And by the way, they got another day off on Monday. 3 against the Tigers, or 3 in Chicago against the White Sox. Come home for a tough series. 3 games against the Orioles. Another day off. At home for 2 against the Rockies. You better whip up on them. Then they get another day off. And then they go to New York for 3 to play the disgrace that is the Mets. And then, oh, by the way, they go back on the road after that to go to Toronto, who's not any good. And then they play the Twins. And then they play the Marlins and the Rangers before the All-Star break. If they can't get back to 500 by the All-Star break at a minimum, stop believing in them. Based on the schedule alone. But I say all of this like, oh, they got these teams under 500 and all. They're under 500. The other teams are looking at them on their schedule going, that Astros team, that's a get-right team. That's a team when they come to town, we go out and we take a series. And suddenly, we're in a better position than we were coming in. That's just the truth of where the Astros are. They've played their way into being a team that others are salivating at the mouth right now to play. Which is wild. I don't care the reasoning as to why they're here anymore. The injuries, whatever it might be. They've underperformed consistently. They've had guys throughout the lineup underperform consistently. They've had pitching at times completely underperform. They can't put anything together. And they could go out and win Friday night. We'll come do this show, and it'll be fat and happy and fun. And, we'll live in the moment that night, and I'll be excited. But it's not going to change my outlook on this team, how I feel about them. I still don't feel like they're that good. And I hate saying those words out loud. It feels like, it feels dirty, is what it feels like. But as each day keeps rolling by, and, you've got more evidence that you're not turning it around and you're staying where you're at and you're just hovering, basically. I've said it before, and I'm going to keep saying it. Why would you go into a trade deadline coming up and want to keep all this together and then go utilize resources out of your farm system to try and better this team? That would be, I'm going to be honest, trading for anything would be the dumbest thing Dana Brown could do. It'd be the dumbest idea that Jim Crane has ever had. There is no reason at all, to go trade for any players to add to this team. I'd rather them just sit on their hands and do nothing and keep playing the same team every day instead of making trades. Don't give away any assets. This team is not good. Not good. You cannot afford to do that. And again, you keep seeing teams that are looking to buy here and there. The Astros can probably get a couple interesting prospect pieces for some players, whether it's some guys in the bullpen, whether it's, maybe you want to trade a big bull. I don't know, whatever it might be. But if they keep spinning their wheels here, and to me, the All-Star break, again, like I mentioned a minute ago, the All-Star break tells the story. If you cannot get to the All-Star break and get back to 500, then this team is in serious trouble. The schedule is too light between now and the All-Star break overall. And heck, even coming out of the break's tough. Seattle, Oakland, Dodgers, Pittsburgh. That's the month of July following the All-Star break. The month of August, to be honest with you, has got a lot of cakewalks in it too. September's got a good stretch against some teams that probably aren't going to be very good. I think I saw the number the other day. They've got like the third easiest strength of schedule or something like that the rest of the way this season. But again, that number, they coming into today, they'd have to go 59-39 the rest of the way to get to 500 or to get to 90 wins this year. Why would anybody believe that they're capable of doing that? They've shown you no reason for that. I'm telling you. It's okay. It's okay to take a punt year. We have been super, 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 super blessed and lucky and all the things that, like, the run that they've had doesn't usually happen to be that dominant, that good for that long. It's not that it's coming down crashing and burning, but you can ship off some pieces, put some new toys in the chest, and use them down the road either as players up here and maybe even trade people, whatever it might be, and kind of reset your roster. Because that's where I keep getting to, is that watching this team every day, they feel like it's time for an actual roster reset. Not all of it. The core of it stays, but they need a little bit of a reset on some of the spots that they have over on this team. It's that simple. I don't think that they're making it this year. I said it like a month and a half ago. I don't think that they're making the postseason. I want to be wrong, but I think I have to live in what reality is. And again, reality tells me that this team is going nowhere fast. Let's talk a little bit more about it. Talk a little bit about the Tiger series. They got to have it. They got to get 2 or 3 in it. We'll do that next. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Locked On Astros Postcast. A little late after the game today. Thank you for joining me still. If you're new to the channel, of course, always please hit the subscribe button. We're on the track towards 1,000 subscribers. Please, people, let's make it happen. The Astros can't give us anything nice, but we can be nice to this channel and hit the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, of course. Tell everybody you know to go hit the subscribe button, as I think we're like less than 80 subscribers away from 1,000 at this point. So please, I appreciate it. You can find this show anywhere that you get your podcast. Go search for Locked On Astros. And it is free $99 wherever you get that. You also get the Locked On Astros show as well. So you get 2 shows for the great price of nothing. Tigers series this weekend for the Astros. They need to take 2 of 3. If you've missed the pitching matchups for this one, Friday night doesn't favor Houston. Even though Hunter Brown's pitched a lot better lately, Tarek Skubal's going for Detroit. He's been great this year, 8-1 with a 192. Saturday, it's going to be Verlander for the Astros. I think it's still TBD for the Tigers on that one. Then Sunday is going to be Spencer Arrighetti versus Kenta Maeda. And those start times this weekend 710, 110, or excuse me, 310, 110 for this weekend. So we'll be with you Friday, Saturday, Sunday for all 3 games here on the channel. They can't afford to lose a series here, because you keep losing series, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to keep on having the same issues, and nothing's going to change at all for this baseball team. Simply put as that. All right, you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening. Enjoy your day off from having to watch this baseball team tomorrow. But don't go too far. Watch them again Friday night, and as soon as the game ends, join us right here on this channel to break it all down with the Locked On Astros Postcast. Again, hit subscribe. Tell everybody you know to go hit subscribe. We will talk to you guys Friday night after Astros and Tigers right here on the Locked On Astros Postcast.